Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Dear student, this is your lecture number 1 from chapter Support and Movement. To understand support and movement in animals, we have to recall these two terms, that is movement and locomotion. Movement, animals' activity in response of a stimulus. Stimulus is the change caused in the environment in response of which we do movement or animals do movement. Locomotion, movement from one place to another. Support, as we have studied in the previous class about the evolution of the animals, how they evolved from unicellular to multicellular animals, and because of the evolution of the multicellular animals, they have evolved to a great size, increased in their body sizes, and if they don't have evolved a system or a support system that support their big body sizes, there would be difficulty in movement and their survival. So with the increase in their sizes, they have evolved the skeletal system, different types of skeletal systems as well. So skeleton is present in animals to provide simply support, but only the skeleton or skeletal system cannot move the animal or humans. So there are two more systems are involved with the skeletal system, that is the muscular system. Muscles are attached to the bones, and the nervous system coordinates with both the skeletal and muscular systems together to perform the movement or locomotion from one place to another. Now there are three types of skeleton that we normally notice in different types of animals: exoskeleton, endoskeleton, and hydrostatic skeleton. Exoskeleton is basically the external covering of the animal. It is present on the outer side of the animal, right? While the endoskeleton is present internally, covered with muscles and skin. Exoskeleton is non-living in nature, that is, it is made up of non-living material, while the endoskeleton is made up of living tissues. Because of this, as the exoskeleton is made up of non-living tissues or non-living material, so these animals need a phenomena that is known as molting, which we will discuss in detail in the further slides. Example of the exoskeleton is mollusk and arthropods. These two phylum, the animals belong to these two phylum, have exoskeleton. As the endoskeleton is made up of living tissues, so it grows with the body, and obviously exoskeleton cannot grow with the body of the animal. The example of the endoskeleton is vertebrates. Hydrostatic skeleton, which is made up of body fluid. There is no such structure like exoskeleton or endoskeleton present in these type of animals. The examples are cnidarians and annelids. These two have only body fluid to support their body structure or a little bit in the movement. First, we will discuss the hydrostatic skeleton in detail. It is the simplest type of skeleton found in soft-bodied invertebrates. The fluid-filled body of animals work like a balloon filled with water. If you fill a balloon with water, how it looks and how rigid it is. Similarly, the bodies of these invertebrates is just like a water-filled balloon. If you uh, push or exert some pressure on a water-filled balloon, you will notice it is capable of supporting itself against the force of gravity. Similar phenomena applies on these type of invertebrates which have hydrostatic skeleton. Here's the mechanism how they move or they perform their movement. These animals have circular and longitudinal muscles around the fluid-filled body cavity. These circular and longitudinal muscles basically help them in movement Otherwise, hydrostatic skeleton does not support movement in the animals, right? Because of the circular muscle contraction, body becomes elongated and stiff because of the pressure exerted by the fluid present in the body cavity, right? When the longitudinal muscle contracts, the body becomes short and thick, and in this manner, all these animals which have hydrostatic skeleton, the alternate contraction of circular muscles and longitudinal muscles causes the body to elongate and to become shortened. In this way, they move from one place to another, and obviously their movement is very slow because of the very simplest type of skeleton. The example of the hydrostatic skeleton are jellyfish, octopus, and earthworm. There are many other worms as well. Exoskeleton, it is hard outer covering secreted by the outer epidermal layer of animal's own body. The exoskeleton is basically formed by the secretion that comes from the outer epidermal layer of that animal. There are different types of exoskeleton present in different animals because of the secretion causes in these animals. First, we will discuss shells, which are observed in mollusks. This type of exoskeleton is present in mollusks, right? You can see the diagram in the background of the mollusk. Exoskeleton is made up of lime, that is calcium carbonate. This type of exoskeleton is found in mollusks, which provide only protection and support but not helps in locomotion. That's why the shells cannot move or locomote from one place to another very easily, because they have the exoskeleton which is non-living in nature, and it provides protection and support only, right? Now the cuticles. Cuticle, the exoskeleton made up of a carbohydrate protein complex, which is called as chitin. The animals have chitin secreted by their epidermal layer, and this type of skeleton is present in arthropods. It covers entire outer surface of the animal's body and appendages. Not only the body, it also covers the appendages as well. Exoskeleton is not a single covering, but it is divided in number of plates by the help of soft flexible joints. The arthropods have a number of joints in their skeleton to provide the exoskeleton to their appendages as well. Not only their body, their appendages as well. It provides protection shape to the animal and helps in fast movement as well. Because of the exoskeleton and the presence of the joints in this exoskeleton, they can move very fast and very easily. But because it is made up of non-living material, so this skeleton does not increase in size with the development of the animal or increase in the body size of the animal. That is the reason we have few disadvantages of the exoskeleton, that the animals that have exoskeleton are small in size, smaller in size. You have noticed that the insects around you which comes under the arthropod are very small in size just because of the exoskeleton. If their skeleton can grow with their body, you can imagine how big insects can be, right? Exoskeleton is non-living in nature. That's why it restricts the growth of the animal. This is the reason they have this they are small in size. So because their skeleton does not increases with the body, therefore animal grows as the animal grows, it has to shed its exoskeleton, remove its exoskeleton, and make a new larger one to support its new size of the body, and this process is called as molting or ecdysis. It normally observed in all arthropods like crabs, like prawns, like insects. Now endoskeleton. This type of skeleton is found inside the body, and mainly found as complex skeleton in vertebrates. Vertebrate is the example of the endoskeleton. However, it is also found in few invertebrates like in sponges. In sponges, it is present as spicules. You have studied phylum Porifera, in which we have studied the spicules, which provide the structure and shape of the sponges, and in starfish as calcareous plates. Rest of the examples comes under the vertebrates. Endoskeleton is made up of living material. That's why it grows with the body and do not restrict animals' growth. As the body increases in size, the endoskeleton, the bones also grows with the body. Endoskeleton in vertebrate includes bones, cartilage, and joints, which we will discuss in the further lectures in detail. Now, human skeleton. Human skeleton basically is the structure which gives body shape, support, protection, and power to move. There are few facts about the human skeleton. That is, the adult human skeleton consists of 206 bones, and it is about 18% of the total body weight of our body. Skeleton, human skeleton can be divided into two further types, that is axial skeleton and appendicular skeleton. Axial skeleton includes your skull, vertebrae, sternum and ribs, while the appendicular skeleton includes your shoulder bones, hip bones, bones of your arms and legs. We will discuss axial skeleton in detail here. Axial skeleton is basically protective in nature. It protects your body parts, which include cranium, which is the part of skull. It is made up of 8 bones to form the brain box. The brain box is present in our skull to protect the brain, which is very vital organ of our body. Rest of the bones of the skull are called as facial bones, the lower jaw, mandible, right? Vertebral column protects our spinal cord. It consists of 33, and after the fusion there are 26 bones. The lower bones are fused together, that's why we can call them 26 bones. They are known as vertebrae. These vertebrae are cushioned by cartilaginous discs which prevent vertebrae from grinding. All the vertebrae have a disc, cartilaginous disc, which serves as cushion between two vertebrae, and whenever we move, it prevents the grinding and colliding of these bones. Ribs, along with the sternum, they protect heart and lungs. These two are another vital organ of our body. Lower two pairs of the ribs are called as floating ribs. Why? Because they remain free and are not connected with the sternum, while rest of the ribs are connected in front of our body with the sternum and at the back side with the vertebrae, right? Appendicular skeleton includes pectoral girdles. The shoulder bones are known as pectoral girdles. They hold the arms to the axial skeleton. Each pectoral girdle consists of two bones, that is scapula and clavicle. Remember the names of the bones. Pectoral girdle, that is the shoulder bones, it is consists of two bones, that is scapula and clavicle. Each forelimb or arm contains 30 bones, which can be distributed as follow. It has one humerus, the bone which connects the pectoral girdle to the elbow joint from the shoulder, that is the pectoral girdle to the elbow. One radius, one ulna. Radius and ulna are parallel bones which starts from the elbow joint and comes and join it to the wrist bone. Then we have 8 carpal. 8 carpals, that are the bones present in our wrist. 5 metacarpals, that are the palm bones, bones present in our palm. And 14 phalanges that are present in our finger. Now the lower part of the appendicular skeleton, it has pelvic girdle, that is the hip bones, which hold our leg bones. Each pelvic girdle, called as innominate bone, and it is formed by the fusion of ilium, ischium and pubis. There are three bones which fuse together to form the pelvic girdle, right? Each hind limb or leg contains following bones, just like the forelimb, but the names of are a little bit different from the previous one. Femur, the bone which joins the pelvic girdle to the knee. Femur is the thigh bone and it is the largest and strongest bone of our body. Tibia and fibula, these two bones are again parallel, just like radius and ulna in our arms. Tibia and fibula attaches the knee joint to the ankle joint. Then patella. Patella is a small bone at the knee joint, or we can also call it as kneecap. Tarsals, they are present at the ankle joint. Metatarsals, they are present at the sole of the foot, and phalanges, the toes of our foot. Here is the diagram showing all these bones that we have discussed earlier. As you can see, this is your skull, this is cranium, this is the lower, the facial bone which is known as mandible, then the shoulder bones or the pectoral girdle includes the clavicle and scapula, the two bones, remember? And then the vertebral column, this is your vertebral column along with the ribs attached to the sternum, right? Then the appendicular skeleton, as I have told you, the pectoral girdle, scapula and clavicle, which then joins to the humerus, then radius and ulna, and these are the carpals, the wrist bones, then metacarpals and phalanges. Similarly, the lower limb, which is joined to the pelvic girdle or pelvis, simply called as pelvis. This is the fused by made up of three bones, with the fusion of three bones, that is ilium, pubis and the ischium, right? Then the longest bone, thigh bone of our body, that is known as femur. This is patella, the kneecap or the covering at the knee joint. Then tibia and fibula, these are the parallel bones. Here in the arm, you can see the radius and ulna. Similarly, in the legs, we have tibia and fibula. Then the ankle joint, we have tarsals, and in sole, we have metatarsals, and then in toes, phalanges. Now, the functions of the human skeleton. It provides supporting framework for the body, as we have discussed earlier. It supports the body for the muscular support and in the movement. It gives particular shape to the body. Without a skeleton, your muscles cannot give any shape to our body. Protection, it is responsible for protection of vital organs like brain, your heart and lungs. It provides surface for the attachment of muscles, and the most important, it helps in locomotion. Bone marrow, which is present in our bones, it produces blood cells and stores and supply calcium and phosphorus whenever it is needed in our body. Okay, that is all for this lecture, and